And just to say, codependence started off out of the movement around Alcoholics Anonymous and understanding addiction. And it was originally thought that in a relationship, an intimate partnership, one person is addicted to a substance, and the other person is addicted to that person. So codependent literally means they both have codependencies. They're co-addicted. And part of the signs of the codependent person who's addicted to another and addicted to a relationship is, again, 7 things. So one is denial or disconnection from their own internal emotional state, and a reliance on others for approval or a sense of identity. So whereas in narcissism, you had a complete self-orientation, right? How are other people perceiving me? How do I rank in the hierarchy? In codependence, you have this other orientation, which is how are they doing? What are they feeling? Do they feel loved enough by me? And this reliance on others for approval. You also see a lot of perfectionism, and perfectionism goes along with a lot of inner critic tendencies. So if someone is engaging in perfectionism, often they have something really intense inside saying, I don't think I'm good enough. I don't think I'm worthy enough as I am. I don't think that was good. I don't think that was good. So this kind of self-criticism behavior plays into then seeking external validation. So they're organizing their behavior and thinking around the other person. And of course, this means a lot of low self-esteem and fear of being alone, and that their self-worth comes from being the good one with other people. And this is really important in terms of how I like to think of codependency. Sometimes I think of it almost like a disease of wanting to be the good one. You know, you're the one who's always there for them. You're the one who's like always shows up for other people. And in a way, you get to be the good one, right? You can think about it even in a family system where like I had a brother who always acted out, right? And I was the good one who always asked everyone how they were doing. And so there's something there to look at. And also this feeling that things happen to you, as opposed to feeling like you can actually act in the world and initiate and engage events. And just to go into some of the desires around this, because I think sometimes things are set up in this way these days where it can be a little bit like narcissistic people are the abusers and codependent people are the victims. And anytime you see that, we're going to get into this idea. There's this thing called the Cartmans triangle. And here, I'll show it to you. Which is this idea that this kind of victim, abuser, I'm going to put it in the chat, victim, abuser, rescuer is this very strong geometry in the psyche. So whenever we're engaging in feeling like we are a victim or trying to rescue someone, it can create a situation in which we constellate these roles. So I'm just going to show this to you right here. Maybe you can see. So yes. So just inherently by feeling victimized by your codependency, or by feeling the need to rescue someone maybe from a codependent situation they're in, or by feeling like narcissists are the abusers, the persecutors, the bullies in the world, it sort of constellates these other roles. And that can be really important for a time to really identify with that role, to feel like you're the victim, to feel your anger, to feel all the reasons why the other person was the abuser, or to like come in and really call in your own protector. All of that can be a really important phase of the process. And at the same time, it's possible to sort of then create a cycle where you're cycling around those roles. And so in process work, a lot of what we believe is that, let me get out of this share, is that there is, let's see, pause share. stop share, is that it can also be very healing to understand the power that you have in your position and what's right about it. And that even all these things that we experience in traumas are also part of our life path. That almost like the way that that our gifts are in them, our powers are in them. And almost the way like a bone breaks, it makes it stronger. Like if you are able to pull yourself out of these dynamics of narcissism, of codependency, of trying to rescue people, you have such a profound gift to offer the world, and that the things that you've discovered on your healing journey are part of your gifts to share with the world. So that's part of the perspective, and it's simultaneous to really understanding sometimes you are in an abusive situation, or sometimes you're an abuser, and there's a lot for you to pick up about that. So anyway, that being said, there's a lot that I realized about my own codependent patterns, about why I was doing it, this idea that there was like a wisdom to it. And one of them was this idea of being the good one. Another was this idea of a desire to engage in an active process of earning love. So I think one of the roots of codependency and narcissism is not being accurately seen or reflected by those around you. You weren't witnessed. You weren't witnessed even to the extent where you were really valued or criticized for who you really are. You know, they say both the roots of codependent and narcissism are in the same experience, where you're being valued for your social self, but not necessarily for your actual emotional experience. So your parents are really positive every time you play sports, but then when you're home and you want to play a game with them, they're not there. They're gone. So you can have this feeling of no one ever really saw me. No one ever really loved me for who I am. And so you can start to feel that earning love, right? The process of being unworthy and having to go through the trials and tribulations of earning love feels more trustworthy and feels more real. And this can result in an appreciation of harshness, right? It's like when I was in those relationships, I actually loved it when there was this very harsh criticism or these big emotional expressive bursts. Partly because I think as a codependent person, those were repressed in me. And so there was something really enjoyable about having someone else who could express these really big emotions. It was almost like I could go along with their feelings and experience these intense emotional ups and downs without having to go through the intensity or pain or vulnerability of having my own feelings, or having to go through the loss of control when I was having real feelings, right? So I wanted to express myself, but I wasn't able to because of my patterning. And so I loved that in the other person. And that also, that harsh criticism or those even violent emotional bursts, not physically violent, but verbally, can be experienced as honesty, right? So connected to that idea of earning love, I gave greater value to the praise that came from my partner when they were also expressing criticism, because it felt like I was being seen and engaged with at a deep level that felt more honest and more real to me than someone who's just like, I love you all the time, you're so great all the time. So I think there's some real things to look at inside of the codependent experience about why that love feels like love and what's good about it. And the idea that kind of reclaiming, oh, I love the honesty of it. You can kind of then reality check, is it actually honest? Or is it just the person lashing out at me? Or, oh, I love that idea of being able, of their intense emotional freakouts, right? Because I can't do it. Then you can work on, oh, what emotions am I not allowing myself to experience?